Hey there. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for March 15th through 19th, 2021. I'm Adrienne Elise. Wow. So, really big shift of energy. We talked about March 2021 being turning on a dime in our reality. And there's an energy here about, are you going to take it? Are you going to stop and receive these new energies? Are you going to allow the painful stories of the past to wash away? Now, this is what's going on as we've just had an exact conjunction of Venus with Neptune in Pisces. And this is the feminine trying to wrestle herself free from the stories of the past after square after square after square, with Black Moon Lilith and Taurus representing the gifts, the bounty of the feminine, but that's been shamed and disconnected, how we've all been disconnected from the mother, and how we all live in this program shame. Just humanity is just the program, right? So this astrology is speaking to this cleansing of the feminine, this washing away of all the stories of the persecution of the Piscean age. And it's really interesting because today Mercury just is moving over into the sign of Pisces. So that means that Mercury has completely finished its Aquarius journey, which was very uncomfortable because it's like pushing boundaries and pushing us to shift and change. But those squares coming up against the deepest, darkest, leftover garbage from the past, and a feeling like we're never going to get out of it, stuck in an eddy. We're not going to get anywhere. And the tide has gone on out and it's never going to come back in. But now this is changing. And it's pretty epic because we've got this Venus like cleansing of the feminine and this exalted, this purification, the high priestess, this the Venus in Pisces is about a pinnacle experience of the feminine in its most spiritual form, speaking to the energy of this equinox, which is bringing forward this access and opportunity to bring in creation, life force into our life. And this is just, in a simple concept, it's like, sexual energy has become deeply distorted, deeply painful for our planet, deeply chained to the lower chakras. And, but sexual energy is just energy. It's just energy. It's a concentrated form of energy. And the deepest mysteries that have been cloaked, hidden, silenced of in our evolution have to do with the feminine mysteries, the divine feminine mysteries, the purified energy, this Kundalini life force coming up into the higher chakras, communicating, this is what creates. This is how we're going to create our new world. Maybe that's why we've been going through this intense astrology, dealing with the shame around the feminine, because it's like, you guys, we've got to drop those stories. Because we're here to be on that cutting edge of spiritual ascension, to demonstrate what's possible. And we're literally creating a new world. And how can we ever do that if we can't access this life force energy in our higher chakras? And this has been the deepest mystery, that the whole evolution on Earth, has been about control energies trying to keep back our spiritual evolution. And how do they do that? By never allowing us to come into this connection between the lower, the life force energies and our higher intuitive faculties, our power. Now, we've been taught to fear this power in a huge way. So this is coming up. There's like a quickening energy going on right now this whole week. Be really present with the energies this week, because Venus and the sun are like getting closer and closer together for this equinox, and they stay close for close to 3 weeks. This is a huge initiation of the feminine, stepping into the fires, purification, putting her back in her rightful place so that we can get on with the story. And everything is pointing to this. And that's where this shift of March is like, all of a sudden it's going from the past to the future, but we've got those right next to each other, right? Just like this weird place we're living in of these multiple, or at least two timelines going on at the same time, these totally different realities. And what a strange place for souls like you that are dancing in between, you know, that are, you don't even know you're doing it, but you're reaching out your hand to the souls that might want to come on the journey. And so that's this very weird, strange energy. And again, we want to, as much as we can in the moment, claim that magic of the moment, claim that life force energy, claim our permission to exist in our full power. This is the key to everything. And it brings all this astrology of this last year together, because that Mars retrograde in Aries was all about like, where are you, who's in charge of where your access to life force and magic and abundance, and, who's in charge of that? Where did you say, oh, I need permission, I need to, do something right, earn God's love? And it's like, oh, it's right there inside of you. And it's starting to awaken in this energy of the quickening. The quickening is like when the seed under the ground is not quite sprouted, right? But it's starting to vibrate with the energy of the sun reaching into the earth and the earth nourishing everything. When we talk about this life force, this power, and moving our evolution forward, it all comes back to the balance of the masculine and feminine, that we need both, and we got to have this synergistic connection. That's how we get into our heart consciousness. And it's how we heal our world, and the thing we have to do before we can move forward. So we've been in this kind of like stockade place of like, we can't go any further till we get this mess cleaned up. And now the feminine, it's like this great play happening in front of us as the planets are telling us this story. Sun and Venus. Now, if we go back, so we got that Mars retrograde that happened last year, and we're still trying to claim our right to our power. And that's huge, because the Sun and Venus, after they move over the Aries point on the equinox, they're going to stay very close together, and then be coming up with Chiron in Aries, which is the wounds of where we've been, given away our power in order to survive. And we don't even know we do it. What if this power is just washing back into your life right now? And there's feelings of kind of like, that fear, anticipation, excitement, but also like, can I handle this? What's happening to me? What's going on? And it makes us, and it's interesting, the Pisces energy right next to it, because it's like, wait a minute. The Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. The Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's this rebirth. And so then Pisces represents the death cycle. It represents the recapitulation period. And we've been here for a long time. But we also can't get out of that energy unless we receive back this mystical revelation. So right now we have this beautiful energy of this rebirth coming, this quickening, this acceleration, and at the same time, the dreaminess of Pisces to kind of, and starting to come out of the delusions of these last few months. The delusions of these last few months have been like a mini bloom, that recapitulation of all the lies we've been living under, humanity. And so this energy is so dynamic. The last week of March is super dynamic. But this week, this is those end degrees of Pisces, the Sun and Venus coming together, and then crossing over that Aries point into this exalted Phoenix rising from the ashes, the divine feminine back in her purified, rightful place. And let's get into, now we can access that Shakti energy, that creation energy that makes all. Now we can feel that we are worthy and purified, and so much coming up with contractual arrangements, your permission, fear programming, and a huge energy with this quickening and this, this is the first energy of really moving forward. And that's why it's like, whoa, your life can just shift on a dime right now. And the tide has been out for a very long time. And now it's starting to come back in. And can you be there and receive it? Or would you like to go hide back in what's comfortable? It's not comfortable. This energy is not comfortable, but it's way better than delusions and fear and trauma. And it's very different because we've been uncomfortable in the dark corners and the delusions and all that. But now it's uncomfortable because it's actually moving. And there's a feeling of like, oh, wait, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And now am I ready? Can I handle it? What's going on? I can't get my bearings. That means you're doing it right. And it's just one of those times to stay really present, because we've got that this week, the Sun and Venus just getting closer together, and it's a building of energy. And that last week of March just kind of pushing through. Now, for the equinox, another thing that's happening is that Mars is coming into a really sweet trine with Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, so Mars is in Gemini. Now, this goes back to, see, we're really hashing out 2020 right now, right? Because we've got this Aries energy coming back for the first time since that Mars retrograde. And then we've got Mars in Gemini, which is where Venus took her retrograde. And Gemini is about the voice and communication and expression of truth. And so that Venus retrograde almost a year ago was, it peaked out kind of in June. And it's about like where the feminine, the mysteries have been silenced and hidden in shame. And we've all played a part in this. We've all been hiding in shame in order to protect the mysteries inside of us, right? Like the scrolls are there, but they're really old, and they're hidden deep down in the earth. Maybe that was that Taurus energy, like excavating out. And you got to clean it all up in order to bring forward these mysteries yet again into our world. So Mars, the warrior, now in Gemini, being like, time to take the mask off of the feminine and express these gifts again, to celebrate these gifts, to live in the energy of this creation energy that is this Shakti energy that's being released on our planet. It's like a Kundalini activation. I'm seeing this starting this week building, but then on the equinox, which is Saturday, and that on the 20th, and then almost like waves of energy of this Shakti Kundalini awakening of the purified feminine, and this creation energy coming back into our life if we can receive it. So there's a huge energy going on, because as we receive acceleration energies, forward motion energies, it's pushing you into the corner and making you choose that timeline. And we're running out of options, right? And we got the heaven timeline and we got the hell timeline. And they're right next to each other. And probably this week, with these end degrees of Pisces, Sun and Venus together at the end degrees of Pisces, it's going into those deep places of the wounded feminine and the persecution, and the feminine that's been disgraced and doesn't deserve to be God. And it's like to receive God's light and love. And it's like, ooh, this creation energy, it just is an expression. It's the formless that can come into form. It's everything that makes everything. And are you going to just go from the dark night of the soul into this, step right into the exalted sun? This is, the sun that's shining on Venus is saying, hey, girl, come out of that dark corner, right? We need you. We got to clean you up and celebrate this energy. And so It's about receiving this tide coming in and these abundant blessings and overcoming the fear programming. It feels like you could lose everything. And, it's like kind of like I have to tell you, supernova souls, haven't you already done that? Haven't you already lost everything? You know, like you've gone through so much and there's nothing else to lose, you know? Your soul is just getting stronger and stronger in who you really are. This is the Aries energy, your I am presence, right? And so we got to make this final leap of this Phoenix and completely, and this Pisces Aries energy right next to each other. So powerful. Wash away, dissolve all the ego constructs, all the attachments, all the way you thought it would be, and step into this fire of life. It's a big shift to go from living from this partially dying, maybe I'll make it through another day place. But that's where we're at. And so just pay close attention to these energies as Venus and the Sun get closer and closer leading up to this weekend. Now, the other thing that's happening, like I said, Mars is in a sweet trine. Mars and Gemini, the energy coming forward around this right now is this unmasking of the feminine, the warrior standing up for the feminine. Hey, we got you, girl. We want to see you shine. We want to see you flower and flourish, and celebrate this life force that's accessible a little more directly to the feminine. But we all have feminine, masculine within us, right? And so Mars in Gemini is also an activation of the enlightened leaders of the new age. These are we have a whole group of leaders coming that have been maybe hanging out in the wings. Some of them maybe we thought were dead, and are really alive. There's a great resurrection coming. These leaders are speaking the truth. Some people say in the Aquarian age, it's an egalitarian where everybody's taking care of themselves and we take care of the whole as well. And we don't need leaders, right? In that paradigm. But we need leaders even more, actually, because we need visionary leaders. These aren't leaders that are like, oh, I'm up here and you're down there in a hierarchical authority of the past, right? This is about some light that's inspiring you to come into your full potential. That's the supernova leaders. And so this Gemini energy, Mars and Gemini, the warrior, now the North Node is in Gemini, and Mars will be coming up in that last week of March to the North Node. And that's the kind of confirmation that it's go time. Because the North Node is, how are we going to get to go? How do we move forward? And then Mars is like, the warrior is saying, oh yeah, this is how we do it. We got to claim back our voice. We got to activate these leaders. We got to stand up for the truth, for the righteous truth. And with that Venus retrograde in Gemini, it's all about the unmasking of the feminine mysteries. And so Mars in trine to Saturn for the equinox is very powerful because it's saying, hey, trines are really harmonious, and this is an air. And in air signs, it's like a vibrational frequency. It's like communicate, we can rise above, we can see it differently, we can get perspective. And so Mars, the warrior, in this activation of the voice and truth and leadership, in trine to Saturn in Aquarius, it's saying this is how. Because Saturn in Aquarius is in square to Uranus in Taurus. And that square has been really hard because it's like, we're so in it, we haven't been able to get a sense of what this is about, but we're going to be feeling the effect for 6 months of this square. But they're just coming out of the 1 degree, like very close square. Now they're 2 degrees apart and they're not going to get back that close. So now is the next phase of Saturn square Uranus, which is about the ground shifting under our feet. And what does this mean? Like, what does it mean for the energetic changes that have been happening, that we've been hosting, we've been inviting, we've been trying to receive in our life? But like that and the old manifest world of the old guard they don't go together. They can't live together. They can't keep going. We got to see some massive changes in our world if we're actually going to go anywhere. And the energetic changes have already happened. And the longer that the physical changes are held back, the bigger this avalanche of information, change, and a new and different way is going to be. There's a shocking energy to it. And so this trine is harmonizing it and saying that we build that new world by taking back our voice and standing up for truth and revealing the ancient feminine mysteries that got buried under shame. And now we've excavated them, and they're absolutely, that energy of these mysteries is absolutely in alignment with your treasures. Your treasures that you haven't been able to access, your intuitive gifts, are directly connected to these buried mysteries of the feminine. And so that trine is really sweet, is saying, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to work together, and it's new vibrational frequency, and we're going to rise above, and we're going to get perspective. And so that's really powerful. So this is the astrology for this week as we lead into this equinox. Be really present. Notice what you notice. So the things, I hope you can consider joining the Equinox Soul Group session. That's going to be Friday the 19th at 9 a.m. in US Mountain Time. So that's a ways before the actual equinox. And we're going to just set this vibration of receiving these new energies of go time. Let's do this. Let's step over the threshold. Let's establish. We've been dabbling in the new paradigm, and now it's time to establish it vibrationally in our field as we receive back our life force and our creation energy. This is what we're made from. We wouldn't even be here before everything that ever existed, and every thought and everything in this whole world is the formless creation energy. And so what does life look like when you're celebrating and living in that? Just dropping all this old shit, and all of a sudden you're walking down the street and you're glowing and you're excited and you're on fire and you're like working together to co-create in each moment new possibilities. This is like, all those stories of positive thinking, those narratives, right? Think positive, have gratitude. And, if we do that, but underneath we still feel shameful and undeserving, then you're never going to get anywhere. But this is like a true stepping into the fire of life and saying, I'm here to live. And it's time. I'm going to take back my life force. I'm going to get excited about life. Our natural state, this energy inside of us, which we've been just tricked into thinking it's not ours, but it's like, this is our natural state where life is supposed to be ecstatic. And that was the energy of when we, a lot of this astrology is speaking back to the time, the biblical times, and this mystical spiritual revelation, the Christ consciousness, so Christ consciousness represents the energy of God accessible here in this manifest world. And this is that creation energy. And when you are in your natural state without all the technological poison control that we've been under, it feels amazing. You feel alive, like life itself is a celebration. And that is going to completely change your life, because you've been spending all of this energy and time trying to figure out your problems, trying to figure out solutions, trying to move forward, trying to sort through all this garbage. And what do you need to do? You got to do something to earn it, and you got to find your gifts, and you got to start expressing them, and you got to work hard, and you got to prove it. All that stuff's going out the window, because all of a sudden you have full permission to feel amazing in the moment. And then your creations come from that, the celebration of life. One of the mysteries that's been kept from us, we know this from science, but we don't live it, that our universe, see, we've been, part of the control energies is keeping us in a loop of the past, right? The trauma programming, pushing our buttons back into the old patterns again and again and again. You're like, how did I get here? I thought I healed this, right? And this is the great mystery of our universe, is that we know that science has shown us now that the universe is continually expanding. And yes, we have our solar system, but our whole solar system and our whole galaxy is moving and expanding towards something. That's interesting, because it brings me to that very powerful total solar eclipse. We're halfway between eclipses, so we're kind of sorting out that energy. And this Pisces new moon we just had was an exact square to where that that total solar eclipse happened. The total solar eclipse happened close to the galactic center, this destiny, this like, hey, are we going to start moving again? Because we're not supposed, momentum, this is this astrology. Momentum, you got to have momentum to get out of the trap, to make the leap out of the sandbox, out of the sand trap, and back on the course. That's what we're doing right now. Got to have this like momentum, and that's this equinox, right? So we living in this constantly expanding. Can you be there? Can you, we all have our ups and downs energetically as we, it's a really important time to take care of your body and your energy, because Mars, the Aries energy, rules the physical body, and these vibrational changes are huge upgrades, right? So you got to rest, you got to take care of yourself, drink lots of water, do your things to take care of yourself, but giving yourself permission to be in an expanded state. That's what this universe is doing right now. And we haven't been playing, we've been quarantined, which is why we've had to go through quarantine, right? To get out of our spiritual quarantine. And so that expanding state is what's unfolding for you. But it's a big change. And so this Pisces and Aries energy together, taking us back to now, when we were talking about that square with that total solar eclipse in Sagittarius, that's, the South Node is in Sagittarius, and it's speaking to our feelings of failure from the past. And for supernova souls, that's where you feel like, I failed God, I didn't do my mission, and it's like, oh God, now you're like, my mission is just to claim this moment in this ecstasy of living and life. And here it is, coming into our world. But there is that energy of, you got to choose it. Get out of those past patterns. You got to overcome that fear, make that leap, and let go. We're all being asked. There's this unexpected energy and mysterious energy. The Aquarian energy is unexpected, and the Pisces energy is mysterious. And so it's like, and then Aries is about full throttle, let's live life. So very powerful energies, and know that there's this huge energetic upgrade. Our body's going through it. The fear programming is bound to come up, where we've all been programmed with fear around this Kundalini energy. And so just this is an epic moment of astrology, and it definitely has this energy of the tide coming back into your life. And can you receive it? Do you deserve it now? Have you done enough of that shadow work? Have you spent enough time and lifetimes in that delusion that you're separate from God? And that all started with that Atlantean story of this Shakti power being destructive. You know what? It is destructive. It's destructive to what doesn't actually serve the truth, the light, the goddess, God, creator. And that's where we are. Like, are you willing to destructo? And step forward into the unexpected. It's this feeling like we haven't had anything to move into. And finally, this astrology is saying, time to go. So we'll see what this is like. But I hope you'll consider joining that Equinox Soul Group session. That's a group intuitive session looking at shared past life pictures to the people who come on the call. Everybody, something shared that we've experienced together. And that gives us an opportunity the reason it's so powerful to look at past life energies is because it gets you out of that loop, that trap in the past. And you can see the story, you can understand, you can get contractual clearings. So there's authority energies coming up because that's connected with in the fear programming of these new energies coming in. There's soul retrieval, huge energy of you landing home here. Maybe these enlightened leaders, that picture of them waiting in the wings, you've been waiting in the wings. Like, there's this something bigger. And anytime you move towards it or talk to regular people about it, they say that you just think it's egotistical or something. This is your God presence. This is what you've worked for many evolutions, and coming back to that, like, higher intuitive abilities. So anyway, we're looking at fear programming, contractual authority contracts, clearing, and soul retrieval. There's also been a lot of energy of this connection to the Essene cultures that were holding the vibrational field for the Christ consciousness to land at the beginning of the Piscean age. And here we are at the beginning of the Aquarian age. So that recapitulation, so that's coming up. And that's where we've all taken vows of silence to hide the mysteries in order to keep them safe. And did you do that with yourself too? Have you been hiding your precious spiritual light in order to keep it safe? And this astrology is like, nothing can stay hidden. Full exposure. And so really powerful times. Let's stay connected. And I hope you'll consider joining that Equinox Soul Group session. If you can't make the live time, just know that your energy is encoded. By choosing to join, you're bringing your energy, your questions, your clearings, what is vibrationally resonant with you will come through, and it's available on the replay at the same link that you sign up in as soon as you can get to it. Right after the event, the replay is available. So just know that is there for you. And now we get to enjoy and celebrate the field we've been working on together, growing the supernova field of energy and possibility in our group work. And it's kind of like we've prepared for this time, to be able to have established that field so that we can support each other in stepping over to claim life back on planet Earth. We've been pretending to live. We've been fake living. So many people have been struggling to make it through, and sucked into like pharmaceutical drugs to feel better. And it's like we've just been most people are not connected to their righteous truth, their birthright of this life force energy. And now it's being handed to you on a silver platter. And can you handle it? And actually, you can't. Your little smaller self that's all psychologically, tweaked, can't, but your bigger self can. And that's why it's time to land home. And that's a good energy. This energy of light coming in is so strong, it kind of clears away all the noise. Right? And how many of us have been going through spiritual workshops and watching so many videos to get to like this spiritual truth? And it's like, what if like that light coming in just moves, it's just centripetal force pushing everything out, all the garbage, all the noise, and all of a sudden you're saying, no, I'm not going down there with you, world. I'm done. I'm going to stay here on my mountain and claim this, the only thing that's actually true is this moment of truly living. And so let's stay in touch. Let me know how you're doing. And wow, stay connected to your soul group. And know that we're all on this journey together. We planned and worked for this time for a long time. And I'm kind of seeing a picture of like stepping out of this old suit that you've been wearing. It's a protective suit. It's been hiding your light. It's been hiding the deep mysteries. It's been hiding your intuitive power. It's something to show the outside world so that they don't see how bright you really are. And it's interesting because it looks like a spacesuit. And it's kind of like, if we have a light body, we don't need a spacesuit anymore. We don't need to be scared of anything out there. We can't even die. I mean, nothing ever dies, right? But that's been the big fear trip that keeps us, most of humanity, what we're seeing right now in this grasping is a fear of death. And you, supernova souls, you've walked through the fire. This has been your whole problem. You've been persecuted in past lives. You're not scared. You're ready to live fully and completely and be that example of light in this world. So take off the spacesuit. You don't need all that protection anymore. You don't need, your light is its own protection as you land home. You don't need all those boundaries. You don't need all that like army of protection you've been carrying around in your field in order, it's like that light coming in is just pushing all that's false away. And can you rest there? Maybe this energy of Venus and the sun going over the Aries point is this masculine and feminine. It's water and fire, and the ancient alchemists were about trying to merge these elements together for true union, and so here we are. Everything is pointing to a complete rebirth for this equinox. And yet it's up to our individual choice whether we can want to say yes and step over. At least right now, you kind of ultimately don't have a choice, supernova soul. But anyway, so awesome to be together for this potent and powerful time. And are you ready to let yourself live again? And let's celebrate that as you do this. You're supporting your soul group. You're supporting the supernova tribe. And we're all going through it together, overcoming the fear, walking on the coals, stepping through the fire so that we can be in that full expression of the exalted God force and see what life is like from that place. So I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update, maybe at that soul group session. I'll see you on Friday for an update as well. Have a wonderful week. Stay present with these energies. Notice what you notice, but give yourself permission for the tide to come back into your life. And I will see you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.